I want to welcome you all to my 90th birthday here in Killarney, but it all started in 1924 in the city of Limerick, the city of the violated treaty. I hope you all have a nice time now and that you meet many friends here, as I have met since I came to Killarney. Hope we have a nice time now. Tighten your belts now. Oh my goodness, every place is looking so different around here. All the houses are gone, the shops are empty. Please God, things will turn for the better. We are now standing in Arthur's Quay, and behind me is Rutland Street, the place where I was born, 16 Rutland Street.
As children, you and I spent endless days of fun in winter snow.
This is where I was born. I'm standing here now in Rutland Street. I was born in 16 Rutland Street on the 27th of September 1924. My grandfather had 3 shops here. One was a tobacconist, the other one was a religious shop, and the other one was a barber shop. And outside the door they used to have the big pole, red and white, indicating that it was a barber shop. We lived up overhead these shops. My grandfather, my mother, my father and 9 children. We all lived with the grandparents until we were a little bit teenagers, small children, and then we moved out and had a home of our own. Lived up overhead these shops. My grandfather, my mother, my father and 9 children. We all lived with the grandparents until we were a little bit teenagers, small children, and then we moved out and had a home of our own. In 1934, we moved out of 16 Rutland Street. My father built a bungalow in a place called Fernshawn, and we moved out there, and that was our home until I got married. This is St. Michael's Church in Ellen Street, Limerick, where I was christened. My name was Frances Bernadette Cusack from 16 Rutland Street.
I take it with me, love, wherever I go, while waking in the arms of distant waters, and new day finds me far away from home, and Limerick, you're the lady, the one true love that I ever known, while waking in the arms of distant waters, and new day finds me far away from home, and Limerick, you're the lady, the one true love the one to love that I ever
We're standing here now And this is Rossavillus, Garryowen. My grandparents lived here in the first house on my left. James Graney and Catherine Graney were the grandparents' name on my mother's side. She had 3 brothers and herself. She was an only girl, and she taught at the school. We're standing here now, and this is Rossavillus, Garryowen. My grandparents lived here in the first house on my left. James Graney and Catherine Graney were the grandparents' name on my mother's side. She had 3 brothers and herself. She was an only girl, and she taught at the school behind her in St. John's School. I played all the games that were ever invented here. We played hoop, we played skipping, we played playing chestnuts, we played every sort of game. I remember as kids we sat in little stools around the bonfire in the centre of this green here. And then the Limerick man used to come, and it was gas pole in the middle that gave light to this place, and he used to have to come up and light the lights and then come in the morning and turn them off. They were great days we had here. No care, no worries, no wars. Everything was hunky-dory. But then things changed, and the grandmother died, a young woman at 62. And then the rest of the family my mother died 3 months after that. So they were left 4 men in one house with no woman. And we were left in a house with no woman. So that was the sad part of our life. But we got over it and we got on with it. And we're still alive today. All my sisters, they've all passed on. But my 5 brothers are still alive. This brings back loads of memories. This is where I learned to play skipping, marbles, rounders. This was all a greenery. Now they have it all tarmac. And we played hula hoop. I can't remember a lot of the ones we played, but we certainly had a good time. And when they used to call us for our meals, we didn't want to go in because we were too busy playing away, and if you didn't go in for your dinner, tough luck, it was put away and you didn't get any. This was my memories. I could go on forever. And we'd play hopscotch and so many more. I can't remember them all. When I lived in Rutland Street, we all went to school here in St. Mary's School, run by the Sisters of Mercy. It was a lovely school. It was a very mixed population. You had some of the very poor kids going here to the school, barefooted in the freezing cold, where we used to have coats and gloves and scarves in the winter time. Those poor kids had nothing. And then they'd get a cold bottle of milk at lunchtime with a bun, a curd bun they called it, but there was about 1 curd in it. And a brother of mine was going to the baby school here, and he couldn't understand why he was never given a bottle of milk or a bun. He always wanted to get one. And he went down one day to the nun. She said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I want to get a bottle of milk and a bun too." "Get away," she said, "your father is working." And he never forgot it from that day to this. But I'm standing here now outside St. Munchin's Church. This is where I made my confirmation. This is where we brought my mother and my father here when they died. My sisters all came here to the church and were buried from here. We had happy times living here, but we had very sad times as well. But thank God we were able to get on with life. This is a lovely part of Limerick. I can see the River Shannon running there now in front of me. King John's Castle is on my left. And the most famous thing of all is the Treaty Stone. That was always known, the violated treaty of Limerick. It's a wonderful city. It was so built up now that I really got lost and didn't know where I was half my time. Because when we were small, we fed the ducks, we watched the Corrigal to see the falls. We thought then that they were big, huge waves. Till we went to Killarney and thought was a sound there. They were only little pebbles. But they were happy times, very happy times. I'm sitting here now on the Treaty Stone in Limerick, which is known as the Violated Treaty. It brings me back memories of one night Sean South and Gary Owen came out to my house looking for my brother, who was in the reserve of the army at the time, and he wanted him to go to the north of Ireland, but we told him not to go and not to get involved. And that night when they went up to go up to the north of Ireland, they were all blown up and killed. Wasn't he lucky he never went? I remember it well. So that's a little story I had to tell about here, the city of the Violated Treaty.
Would you think Sean South would eat the fish? Bernie.
I think he would. The fish from the Shannon River is the nicest fish in the world.
Yay!
Limerick, you're my lady, your Shannon waters, tears of light that flow, and the beauty that surrounds you, I take it with me, love, where'er I go. While waiting in the arms of distant waters, a new day finds me far away from home. Come on, loud, sing with me, the poor old voice is going. So Limerick, you're my lady, the one true love that I have ever known. This is the house where my father built when we moved out from Rutland Street, Fern Sean. All the people that lived here when we were being reared were guards, sergeants, priests, you name it, we had it a lot. There's very few people now here that I know, but my brother and Eileen and Jar are living in our own family home. My grandfather that christened the name of our bungalow, St. Anne's. He was a very religious man. I married Donal out at this house and we moved to Dublin. And after we came back down from Dublin, we moved into St. Anne's. And I had just one child that time, Rosaline. But after that then there were 6 more children born. And then the others were born when we moved to James's Court. I remember there was a family named Kirby's, and they had a big orchard at the back of their garden, and nobody was ever left in to see it. But Donal one day was up doing an aerial picture, and he took a photograph of the orchard, and he brought it to Breda, the daughter, and he said, "Now Breda," he said, "you said nobody ever got into the orchard, but I know the outline of it now because I photographed it." She couldn't believe it. After leaving this house, when I married, we went up to live in Dublin, and then when he came back down, I said, we moved in with my father as there's nobody to look after him. So we lived there for 10 years, and I had 8 children. I had 6 children, and then we moved out to James's Court, and the 2 youngest were born in James. St. Anne's here in 1962, and we were here for 10 years before we changed our home and we moved to Killarney. I reminisce every time I pass the house because we did have good fun here. Even the kids were wild enough, and I wonder how they put up with 8 children running around. But they all seem to have got on very well. A lot of the people have all passed now since we lived here, and I don't know anybody here. But there was one great friend of mine that lived here, were the Cox family. And Pat, the youngest, was always out the garden studying, and he became the first president of president of the European Parliament. He's resigned from it now, I think, and it was a great to rise that high in the government, wasn't it? The excitement for moving into this house was that we had the largest garden in the whole estate, and wasn't this wonderful with eight children running wild around the place. Now and again they kicked the balls and broke a few windows, and believe it or not, but the neighbours never complained. It's years after that I ever heard about all this. Carry on. Our house was right there, was right across from the Gaelic grounds, and when there'd be a football match, all the cars would be parked up back and front, inside in the front drive and everywhere, and the kids would put stalls outside the door, and they'd be selling lemonade and sweets and everything. Sure, they had a ball to make a few bob, but they really enjoyed that. And then they'd have stalls outside the door with things that they didn't need, their toys and things, and they would sell them for the poor children of Africa. And they had good times here, and they went to lovely schools. Don and Sean went to John F. Kennedy, and it was a lovely school, and all the lads went to the Salesians. Here we are now in Barrington Street, Limerick. This is where all my 7 children were born. The first one, Rosalind, was born in Dublin. Then we moved back to Limerick, so the rest of them are all born here. It was owned by Mrs. Deneen, and it was called St. Anthony's Nursing Home. I don't think it's here anymore, that it's sold. It must have been sold. I can't see her writing on the door, like. But she was a marvellous woman, and she had a big family herself, and still she was able to attend to all the patients that were in there. And I think she had a nurse, and she was from Kerry, working there. When any of my kids were born here, they were all born natural and healthy, thanks be to God. All I ever got was a quick sniff in the end, I said, and everything was over and done with. And they were great with the children because they knew I had a big family, and they used to keep the kids below at night, so I never had to worry about sleeping or anything. But in today's world, you go in and have a baby, you could be out in 2 days, but we had to stay a whole week. And after staying there for a whole week, before you could go home, you had to go around the corner to the church, and you had to get a blessing there before you could go home or bring the child home. All that is so different now. No wonder I'm living in a confused world with everything changing around me. But it was great to live this long to see the change, and I hope it's for the better.
At one stage, I remember you telling me a story about you had 4 children in nappies.
No, 2 would be
2.
the most, Anne and Mary.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have no funny story about when any of us were born?
I haven't. There were no problem at all whatsoever. And as I say, the main thing was they were all born healthy and perfect. And that's a blessing if they hadn't anything else.
Yeah. Let's see, where were they all baptised? They're all baptised.
Some were baptised in St. Munchin, some were baptised in their Holy Rosary.
So we'll just go that one, right? So what we're going to do is we'll go with rearing the kids. It was a challenge I loved, and then say And
I was Shannon to see the planes taken off. Oh dear.
was it good fun though?
It was.
Kids loved it.
They loved it. They looked forward to it. Yeah. Of course, the planes that time were very new.
So do you remember Tuck now?
Oh my goodness. It came right I jumped out of the car and instead of running away from the second thing I ran into it. And they were all sitting in the car laughing down the road. I'll never forget the prize of it. In there yet. And my daughter Kathleen, lucky enough, she has a job working there with her Rienta. A nice job, and she's there for over 25 years. And she was presented with a trophy for being there for the 25 years. And I think Shannon is on its uppers again. It did go down there for a while, but I'd say it's on its uppers again.
And tell me about Donald's story in Shannon about getting on the aeroplane. What happened, Mr. Soho? What was that one?
Oh yes, and Donald then being the photographer, he used to have to cover Shannon. He covered 3 crashes in Shannon in different parts, and there was this Mr. Soho, I don't know, he was wanted for something in America, and he was in a plane but no one could get at him. And of course Donald jumped over a fence, went in, got up the steps of the plane and shouted, "Mr. Soho," and your man turned around and he clicked it and he got a world exclusive. But people from flying really. But the worst one was the one that went into the Shannon right at the airport itself. And then there was one on the mountain.
That was the KLM crash, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then there was, I think there was 3 altogether. But thanks. Here we are now to a place of the unknown on our mystery tour. And now we've left sunny Limerick and here we are in rainy Kilkee as usual. I started coming here to Kilkee when I was only 2 years of age with my parents. The first trip I remember coming down here was in the West Clare train. That is gone out of action for years now. Kilkee hasn't changed. After the storm, it looks a bit dishevelled, but it's not too bad. The sea today is very calm. There's no waves. It's overcast, and in Moveen, it's covered in completely. Yeah. And when we used to come to Kilkee as kids, we never left the Strand line. It was always too dangerous. All we'd say is go down over the wall, bring our buckets and shovels, and stay making our sandcastles all day until we'd be called for our dinner or tea. It was lovely, it was so safe. And the kids never got sick or nothing ever happened to them down here, and we had a great time. We used to love on a Friday night to get the dillisks and the periwinkles and carrageen moss. But I cannot eat them now today because they're too salty. But as a child, it was wonderful to be able to buy them for a penny. You got a penny worth in a little bit of paper bag, and you thought it was heaven on earth. But we had simple fun in Kilkee. All we ever did was to go to the sand, make our castles, play away. I remember one time we used to put our shoes floating in the water and the waves would bring them back in again to us. It was simple living because there wasn't that much money and there was a lot of us children. We didn't ever go to shops for sweets. We never missed them because we never had them. But now today aren't the kids eating too much sweets and it's bad for their teeth. I remember coming down to Kilkee when I was only about 2 years of age, and we came down in the West Clare train, and all in the train coming down they'd be singing a song. Are you right there, Michael, are you right? Do you think that we'll be there before the night? Sure, it all depends on whether the old engine holds together. Sure, we might now, might, sure, we might. The Cusick's parties in Kilkee were legendary. But I remember one particular year when we got locked out of the house and we were looking for the boys all over the place to come down to help us to get in. Do you see, it was a half door. And one had the top half bit open, but the bottom part was closed. So we were all standing outside trying to get in, and of course brave Bernie said that she'd get a chair and climb over the gate. I got the chair anyway, they gave, and the next I stood up in it. I got one leg in over it, but I could not get in the second one. And then we all started laughing. I was lucky I didn't break my neck. But they still talk about that today, and they get a kick out of it. They were all 12 o'clock at night in the dark, and we were standing outside and we couldn't get in. But it was a great memory to have. I have very happy memories of being down here in Kilkee. I loved every minute of it, and it'll be on record that this is the place to have a holiday. And you don't have to be flying in an aeroplane. One thing is, you can take the wind and the rain as well as the sunshine. Okay? And that's George's Head over there. And the Diamond Rocks at this side. And the Bats in front of us. So where would you get it? Only in Kilkee. Which I hope to do. Well, I could put them on the floor. I'm down now to my last one and the machine has beaten me. Best look at this one.
Yes!
That is.
Go on the way down here. Down the end. Time is running out, Bear. Time is running out.
43 I missed in the line there.
Yeah.
Actually, it's too fast.
It's not like the gold bingo, is it?
If you were playing it for a long time, you'd get this height. Oh, I got it. That's heavy down. There's not enough then.
Go on then. Go for another one.
Them all in the back, but they're not pushing out too far.
Yes. Go on.
Oh, he's the arrow. There's no arrow.
Drive now, you're driving now. Round the corner.
Time is up, is it?
Yeah.
Game over.
Game over. Oh, no, stay there, because I missed. Stay in the road, Bear.
I don't see the car. It's dark.
Try and keep it on the road, Bear. Turn around there.
It's wrong way. Turn around. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that drive. Big fest for me. I am very proud to be alive and to rear all my children and have them all settled in around me in Killarney, all each in their own home. And the only one that's missing is Edel, and she's out in Colorado. But please God, she'll be here in about 3 weeks' time, and I'm so much looking forward to seeing her little child, who is Christopher, and he's 2.5 years old. And the youngest grandchild was 17, but now this little fella, I said, has taken the biscuit. He's only 2.5. So I don't think I'll be around much longer to see him growing up, but sure, his mummy is very happy to have him, and he's a great blessing to her.
And have you a message for your grandchildren?
A message to all my grandchildren and my laws, my in-laws and my outlaws. I love you all. I might have been a bit of an old gabber, but I never meant harm to anybody. During the war years, we did have a rough time of it. We didn't have bombs being dropped on us, but we suffered otherwise. I remember one time outside the grandfather's shop, and they used to have placards, and the heading on the placard was "In Ireland Isolated." And I went into my dad and I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "It means the ships won't be coming in with anything, coal, fuel, food or anything." And I was terrified to go to sleep, for we'd die of the hunger. It was rough enough, but everybody were in the same plight. If you hadn't it, the neighbour next door hadn't it. And we had rations for this, ration books for clothes, ration book for food, ration books for even soap to wash yourself. You had to make the best of everything that you had. And we did. And you couldn't get, toothpaste and all these luxuries that they take for granted today, and they throw them out if they don't like the look of them and all this carry on. What we used to do is to have to put salt and the soot off the chimney to clean our teeth, and it never knocked off the enamel either. So, I mean, there is a funny side to life. And when you'd be washing clothes, there was no such thing as washing machines. We had to put a barrel out in the back, fill it up with sawdust, light it from the bottom, put a big bath on the top of it, and bring the water as hot as you could, and put your clothes in and steep them for a while, and that's how you washed them, with a washing board. Now it is too much trouble to even put the flipping clothes into a washing machine, to put wear in a dishwasher. Everything is worry and a grumble. We had to do it all by hand, and we hadn't time for that carry on. So Sunday afternoon we'd always go for a drive with the kids in the back of the car. You could imagine all the kids, and there wasn't enough room for them, but they brought the dog. Next thing Noel would say, "Sit in there, Bernie, and I'll show you how to drive." I'd be going along doing nicely, and the next thing it said, I'm going to sleep now, I leave it in your hands. I can assure you, I never learned to drive after that. Then when we came back, the sergeant across the road said, Bernie, you shouldn't be driving the car because you have no insurance and you have no licence or anything. And I had to stop driving the car, but we were going in in home, and Dolan tried to teach me how to back in. And the next thing I hopped the exhaust pipe off the wall. He said, that's the end of your driving career. And I never sat behind the wheel after. And my lads all said to me, Ma'am, why didn't you drive? Why didn't you drive? Little did they know the kids all laughing at you, and if I made a mistake, they'd nearly push me flying through the window. It's just we just go out to the airport to see all the planes. And one day we were out there on a Sunday, and the next thing, this plane was very low. And I thought, this plane is going to come in on top of us. So I said to Donald, stop the car and let me out. I got out of the car and I started running, thinking I was running away from the plane. And I was at a gate, and the next thing, the plane just went over my head with the undercarriage down. I nearly lost my life, and the others all breaking their heart laughing at me because it didn't go over the car. Little things like that, they keep you going, and the memories. Now and again, of course, it wouldn't be. A little bit about myself and Donald now. I met Donald when I came to Limerick after the war, the end of 1947. I met him at the Stella Ballroom. I was introduced to him by a friend of mine. I didn't take much notice of it, but I was going out the Ennis Road one time, coming in, and he was going out, and I said, hello, Donald, how are you? And he said, I'm off to New York. I said, oh, what's bringing you over there? He said, they were commissioned from the paper to go over to for a first flight, an inaugurated flight over to America with a lot of the press crowd. So off he went anyway, and the next thing I got a card back to say that they were going on to Iceland. So then he came home, and I met him again. And then so the next thing, he brought me this lovely brooch with earrings to match. So I thought, gee, he must be interested in me to bring me back a present like. But then I met him another day after that. There was racing in Clownanna, and he invited me to go racing, and I said I will if I can bring a friend, because we were always told never to go with strangers or never talk to anybody unless you were introduced by somebody else. So I obeyed the rules, and I brought my friend, and we got our photograph taken at the races, and it was on the paper. Sure, we were the envy, the rest of the crowd then, but what harm. So then I started going with him after that series, and we got married then the 6th of February, and we went up then to live in Dublin, and that's where it all began. So this is the end of the story now. I might have made a bags of it, but I did my best. And we had our own little ups and downs like every other family, but I wouldn't have parted it for the world. And if I got life to live all over again, he'd be my choice. Because he was funny, he was light-hearted, and if anything went wrong, it was, leave that to me. Don't worry about that, I look after it. But of course, he never looked after it like. That was forgotten once he went outside the door. I remember one time I said, a window was broken in the kitchen. I said, Donald, you know that window is broken there. And he put a stone up against it and said, that'll be fine, Bear. He said, I'll get someone to fix that. And he went off. Bernie rang up and she ordered new windows, and they were in before he came out of town. And that's what it's all about. Enjoy your life. Spend your money. You have too much. Let it go.
strange reflection. Was that lonely woman reading me? Those were the days, my friend, we thought that never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days. Oh yes, those were the days. La 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 through the door there came familiar laughter. I saw your face and heard you call my name. Oh, my friend, we're older, but no wiser. For in our hearts the dreams are still the same. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days. Oh yes, those were the days. La 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 la
I'd like to welcome you all to my 90th birthday. Here I am in Killarney's Beauty's home. All to my 90th birthday. Here I am in Killarney, but it all started in Limerick City in 19. Welcome to my birthday party. I will be 90 years of age.
Stop.
I said it wrong again now.
No, take away the hand. Take away the hand, Mary. Right.
Yeah. At the start again.
No, just come with. Well, I suppose he's going to have to get out of your seat anyhow, isn't he? Higher up with the hand. And a big kiss. And a wink. And a wink.
I have enough done now. My poor legs won't hold me up any longer. God bless all of you. Have a great day.